Today we have with us a very eminent personality from the gem and jewelry industry, Mr. Colin Shah, the chairman of GJEPC for the AOJ Stock of the Day show episode. Hello, Mr. Colin.
Hi, Sumesh.
Thank you for joining and giving this opportunity. Straight away, we'll like to ask you about the preparations for the IIJS virtual. I think the whole industry is very keenly awaiting for this coming show because this year you didn't have the uh, physical edition of the IIJS. But what we have seen is that GJPC being very proactive, doing a lot of virtual buyer seller meets. But this is probably the first big event virtually happening. So tell us about the preparations and give us the perspective about this IIJS virtual.
Thanks, Sumesh, for giving me this opportunity to talk about IIJS Virtual on AOJ Video Live. I don't know I guess you're calling it Art of Jewelry Live.
It's called as the AOJ Talk of the Day show. So
Okay,
this episode will be recorded and then it'll be up on the YouTube and on the WhatsApp groups.
okay. So thanks. So, the lockdown started in March,
Right.
and IIJS Physical was meant to happen in August. You know, I guess when the first lockdown happened in March, we all thought that COVID will be over by end of April, and life will be back to normal, and we won't need to change the IIJS August dates. As went along, we soon realized that the chance of doing a physical show in August is probably improbable. So we'll need to postpone that show indefinitely and definitely start looking at virtual options. So what, I guess Shailesh Sangani, our IIJS convener, and his team, and the brilliant secretariat we have at GJEPC led by Sabya and team, they all started scouting around for various solutions. And
Right.
we met every IT company possible in Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Gurgaon, Noida. We looked at companies which are doing this internationally for Vegas, Hong Kong, and after a lot of painstaking research, we zeroed in on this company and platform which we're using for IIJS Virtual, where we're trying to give a simple video solution with a nice interface which permits our manufacturers and buyers to actually transact business. So we've done, like you correctly said, we've already done a few virtual buyer seller meets, and the diamond show that we did, and even the plain gold jewelry one that we did, have been immensely successful. Where both buyers have been happy with what they've seen virtually, and even our exhibitors are pleasantly surprised that they've actually done business. Because going into these virtual buyer seller meets, all of us were apprehensive that whether business will happen or not. It all sounded like a cool idea that the world is going virtual and let's start buyer seller meets. And then there were all these apprehensions that whether our product being a touch and feel product, whether people will actually buy. But business has happened, and our solutions have worked. Obviously it's new, and it will take some time for all of us to get used to the new reality, adapt to this new way of doing business. And I guess even the solution will get better as we go along. But having said that, we are all very excited that IIJS Virtual will lead the way and will be just what the industry needed at this juncture.
The other thing I wanted to understand is, will this IHS virtual or this kind of platforms work only for large and medium players? How about a small, retailer or a manufacturer, just a small manufacturer sitting in Kolhapur, or a small buyer sitting in somewhere, let us say in Mysore or in Belgaum? Example, I'm giving just random
Yeah, yeah.
names. Will they be also, so much IT savvy and so much enthusiasm, and will the sellers give them the equal importance, or will it be only for the big boys?
See, like I guess and for all of us, say old war horses who've been they're doing IHS for many many years.
Uh,
Believe it or not, and I would say including my company, I started with one booth. We were a small company 20 years back, and grew over the years. So I guess IHS gives everyone equal opportunity. I don't think it's a small large thing. There are 2,000, more than couple of thousand booths, several thousands of companies, and I guess the water meets its way. everyone finds somebody that they can work with. Having said that, and it's interesting that you raised this point, virtual actually is brilliant for the small players, because believe it or not, in today 40,000 rupees, which is the pricing of the show, right? Entry level, I'm saying entry level. He gets access to IIJS, which with the physical format was unthinkable. If you think about it, it was costly. Then you had to make a booth. Then you had to spend some money on advertisement promotion just to get some visibility against all the big companies. But at IIJS Virtual, everyone has a great equal opportunity of, meeting the largest customers out there. So actually, that's the flip side, that it's actually good for the small people, the smaller manufacturers. It gives them a chance.
Right. Yeah. So it becomes more, a democratic and more equal platform going forward
It's
for
more
those
cost
who.
effective, definitely.
Yes. Yes. Right. Right. Correct. Now, moving on to some, perspectives about, exports and other industry trends. So what we hear is that the exports have gradually picked up from last 2 or 3 months. So what is the kind of trend you are seeing for the, for the coming Christmas, especially in US and European markets? What is the export scenario right now?
See, 1819, the industry did $39 billion, out of India exports. And then 1920, we had a rough year even before COVID. So the industry grew by 10% last year. So we had a tough economic year, and there were all kinds of challenges: U.S.-China trade war, gold price volatility. There was everything which could possibly go wrong was already going wrong last year economically, and then we had COVID. So I guess if you look at it, what we are predicting is that this year will be 25 to 30% down compared to last year's exports,
Mhm.
because half the year we've already lost in terms of lockdowns,
Right.
factories not being open. Most of the world has gone into second lockdown, and there's still a lot of confusion about the whole opening up. Having said that, the positives are that our main markets, which is US and China, buying is back. So it seems like it will be a strong second half of the year, which is October to March. So China seems to be doing better every month. America, we have elections, so again, uncertain, volatile times after elections, depending on who wins. But having said that, election year, generally a lot of spending happens in the economy.
Hmm.
So it seems like October to March, US and China will be okay. Gulf seems to be coming back a little bit in the last couple of weeks. People have started traveling back to Dubai and the neighboring areas. So that's happening for sure. And India, while we've had, I guess, the most harshest lockdown globally, it seems like business is at 40-50% level now in the last 1 month. And October to March, people are cautiously optimistic that business should happen at 65-70% levels. So if that happens, then at least we are better than where we were in the last 2 quarters. And then in 21-22, hopefully business recovers to back to the old levels. So that's what we're guesstimating right now.
So you're saying that China and US is two bright spots in exports right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Great. Okay. Overall, in the gems and jewelry industry in India, in the entire ecosystem of manufacturers, and then you have wholesalers, of course, retailers, and if you look at once backward integration karigars, the entire ecosystem has been affected, has been shaken, but comparative to the other industries, has been, I think, reasonably done well. But
Mhm.
you, as a perspective from the industry and the government, what do you see the ecosystem? How is you see any stress in the German jewelry industry, and how is it doing?
Uh, like any other industry, I guess we are also stressed. Everyone's had to run their businesses, whether it's salary, landlord, rentals, electricity for 6 months
Right.
without any revenue coming in. And then you double that up with the mark to markets that every manufacturer, retailers had to pay up on their gold loans
Right.
because of the price hike, which we've seen in the last 1 year.
Right.
So people are stressed. There's no denying that. There is a liquidity crunch. It will continue till business comes back to normal. Having said that, the government did give our industry all the extensions that we needed, when it came to moratorium loans for, practically all the industries. what we're expecting in the next 2 quarters typically, and which may help our industry in a big way, is the e-commerce policy. Because India doesn't have one, though we have one, we don't have something which is specific to gems and jewelry. So the ability of shipping parcels in a cost-effective way out of India, right, and with speed, which will really help our industry, I guess, because now 15-20% of the business has become online. So if you're able to partake in that ecosystem, then it will help manufacturers, retailers, everyone equally. So we are hoping that we have an e-com policy for gems and jewelry soon. We are also hoping that there is a gold monetization policy. There already is one, but a more jeweler-friendly version of the policy, which will help unlock, at least we estimate 200 tons out of India's, grandfather's gold every year, which will ease up the pressure on duties also in the long term, and on the parallel business that which happens. So I think a gold monetization policy will help our industry. E-com policy will help. On GST, we already are at a less rate. We need more relief on input credit. So at 3% GST is competitive. I don't think anyone in our industry feels it's non-competitive. But people do have challenges on their input credits, which we are working on, and those should get smoothened out by budget next year. So that's as far as GST is concerned. Then coming to all the other challenges which our industry faces, especially when it comes to customs, sending goods for exhibitions, getting them back, gold replenishment, duty drawback. So we're representing at every forum possible, and we are hoping that, I guess, again, till budget next year, we should see a lot of respite on all these challenges that we've been having. So if, I guess, most of this is done, our industry is in great shape to compete globally. I think that will happen for sure.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive perspective of what's required and what's kind of happening. So finally, we come back to the IIJS virtual, and I would like to have your message on what is your message for our Indian retailers and exhibitors, what best they can drive out of IIJS virtual, and what's your message?
My message, and I guess I've been saying it at every forum, and I'm happy to say it at, Art of Jewelry. You reach out to, a very eminent set of retailers all over the country. My only message would be that industries had a rough 6 months. People have had a little challenge in running their cash flows, taking care of their employees, karigars. So what the industry needs is a boost of positivity, and the boost of positivity in our industry and any other industry will come from business. So I would really request all our retailers, customers, partners who will come to virtual IIJS to please open your wallet and spend some money. The manufacturers need business for Diwali. They all want to make up for lost sales in the October to March period. And I guess, while I understand the retailers are cautious and they're all worried whether walk-ins business will happen Diwali onwards, I think we have to stay positive. We have to get that juggernaut moving. I can only assure the retailers that on the manufacturer end, everyone's been working very hard to come with new designs, innovation, in spite of all the difficulties they've gone through in the last 2 quarters. So there will be a lot of new product. I understand that it's going to be a new format, and everyone's used to touch, feel, and now we have to buy virtually. But these are people that you worked with for many, many years. I'm sure if there are challenges later on, the manufacturer and retailers will find out a way to solve the issue, in the best interest of the business. But having said that, I would really urge and plead to all retailers, come, spend money, and let's get our business going for the next half of the year.
Great. So on this positive note, thank you very much, Mr. Colin, for giving your time. And we wish you and everyone in the industry all the best for the IIJS virtual.